You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secured. Extraction complete. Intelligence system analytic computer is activated. All ISAC systems are confirmed online. Data scanned. Downloading files.
What's up, guys? You're listening to episode 122 of SITREP Radio, giving you the news and other happenings in the world of The Division. This week we're talking pre-orders and update 1.83. But first, my name is Mike, and joining me are my co-hosts, Robert.
Hello.
And Luke.
Hello.
I hope you both well, and our listeners have had a great week, and welcome to any new listeners of the show.
Real quick thank you to those of you that have supported us over on Patreon. It's very deeply appreciated by the three of us. If you haven't already and you do want to support the show, please head over to patreon.com/SITREPRadio. We'll be posting weekly images and behind-the-scenes stuff from the show over there. We are going to be doing Patreon-exclusive episodes for the highest tier awards. And because we were in GamesCom last week, we have got some footage from there that we'll be posting exclusively to Patreon members first also.
What's the exclusive like time zone? Like, is it 7 days? Is it a month? Is it 30 days?
I don't know.
We haven't really discussed it, have we?
I think that's kind of like a topic of conversation for today that kind of fits.
I know, that's why I brought it up, Mike.
So you want 3 days early access or 7, sir?
Do the Patreons get 3? Or does that depend on the tier?
I don't know. Can we get to the news first?
Okay, sorry. I'll stop butting in.
Fuck's sake, Rob. Okay, so we're back to normal after Gamescom last week. We hope you enjoyed the episode 121. Yeah, it went out a little bit late. Apologies with that. It had quite a few audio issues. We were recording in a kitchen of some German person's house with the fridge and fans and other stuff going on.
Can I just say really quick that the people that owned the house knew we were there? We didn't just break into somebody's house and record an episode in their kitchen. You made that sound a bit weird.
I just thought we were lodging.
I gotta admit, I wasn't too sure if the dude was just going to come back any second. It did literally look like he just left.
We drank all his coffee, so
that's a secret, dude.
Okay. Well, I said mainly Boris.
I didn't drink any of it. I don't like coffee. I'm innocent.
But yeah, I think we all had fun recording last week's episode, even if the audio quality wasn't the best. And we hope to get together with both Brad, aka Shazam from Japan, and Boris Spickbeats again in the future. Maybe for another Gamescom? We'll have to see.
You were not so secretly, pricing up flights for E3 next year, weren't you, Mike, over the last couple of days? Do you want to tell the boys and girls who listen to the podcast all about that? Or are we keeping that a secret?
Well, I was just wondering where we were going on holiday next.
I'm out of that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only bit that worried me was there was a flight transfer on the way there. I was like, we're not so good with flights altogether, apparently. So maybe that's a bad idea. Anyway, let's get down to some news.
State of the game.
Okay, so there's no state of the game this week. However, there is some news and other stuff happening in the world of the Division right now. And I know most of you have probably guessed by now that there's a GE going on and you know what it's all about. But Luke, can you please give listeners a quick reminder of what GE Strike is all about?
Yeah, certainly. This one is the Strike global event. It's always active, as they always are, for PvE portions of the game. The strike modifier means that once you kill an enemy, it will explode after a short delay. The second modifier is the preemptive strike, which gives you the aforementioned modifier, plus when you receive incoming damage, you will trigger a small explosion on yourself. And then the third modifier, the tactical strike modifier, gets you the all the previous ones, and when you kill an enemy with a strike explosion, it will damage the remaining enemies nearby. Ally to ally explosion damage is increased. So if I take a lot of fire and Mike stood right next to me, he'll get hurt a lot as well. The playlist missions for this are Lincoln Tunnel, Lexington, Times Square, the power plant, and the Incursionist Stolen Signal. The classified rewards are Path to the Nomad, D3, Predmark, and Banshee. And the sweet, sweet masks that you can get are the Classic Mask, the Rider Mask, and the best one of the three, in my opinion, is the Jungle Mask.
Awesome.
I still think they should have renamed it Michael Bay Week.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that, dude.
But they'd have to add like all female agents running away from explosives have to run in slow motion.
I don't really know where to go with that, to be honest. I'm going to stay clear of that.
Anyway, boys. I'm not even commenting on that. Update 1.8.3 arrived last Thursday whilst we were at Gamescom. Huge topic of discussion in the community this week is how nerfed Strikers is now.
Nerfed or just brought in line?
It's fucking difficult. It's difficult.
I personally think it's just been brought back in line because we've played a lot of Last Stand this last few days since we got back, haven't we? And there are still people running it. Not many, but there are still people running it. If it was totally useless, nobody would be wearing it at all, would they? So, yeah.
Rob, do you want to give the listeners a very quick recap of what is actually going on with Strikers now in update 1.8.3?
So EMP now pauses stack accumulation, and bonus damage and healing are not applied. Existing stacks are lost with time by missing shots. Classified striker bonus heal rate is reduced, and shots landed are only add 1 stack to each bonus when playing in the Dark Zone, Last Stand, Skirmish. So for PvE, it's not affected, right?
Correct.
No.
Do you really want me to read the full text?
No.
Okay, cool. I wasn't going to anyway. But they've changed the handbag as well, haven't they?
Yeah. So you can't drop and pop anymore.
Well, you can, but
you have to leave it down a little bit longer.
Next
about
to
10
useless,
seconds.
isn't it? I actually like that change. No, next to useless, if you drop and pop, you get literally nothing back. If you leave it down for a little while and then pop it.
Well, yeah, that's a good change.
Yeah, I agree.
Isn't it?
I like that change.
Because you shouldn't be getting the majority of your heal from putting down a box and running off again. It should be for like a reclaimer build or something like that. You should be using like your overheal or your booster shot or whatever you're choosing to use, not a med box.
Yeah.
It's more like to put down on the ground, and that's where you're going to stay in that kind of vicinity around your box, which is what they've, the change has basically made, isn't it? But with regards to Striker, definitely made a huge difference to the meta at the minute. There's not as many showstopper Strikers running around at the minute. The downside with that is you've got a couple of other builds that are pretty strong, would you say, at the minute? Obviously, Predators, Lone Star, and I would say Nomad are probably the top 3 at the minute.
I would argue top 4 because I see quite a bit of D3 in the DZ, to be honest.
I haven't seen anybody running D3, so I apologise for that. But yeah.
I have. I think the other thing I've noticed in the Dark Zone a lot is you now more than ever need a healer. So it's not a 4 team of DPS, it's maybe a 2 and 2 or at worst a 3 and 1. There's always, well, not always because not every team has got one, but there's quite often a Reclaimer knocking around or a Final Measure healer build going around, which brings its own benefits for obvious reasons.
Well, I was going to say, didn't we come up against Grumps this week in Last Stand, and he had a dedicated
team of healers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we kind of wondered why we got wrecked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I think
I was just going to say, being an organised team definitely reaps its reward in Last Stand at the moment, doesn't it?
yeah, you don't see very many solo players, and if there are solo players like on their own in Last Stand, most people are running around in groups in that game mode, so you're pretty much dead.
Well, we were all running Striker before, weren't we? Because if you weren't running Striker before, you were getting wrecked. So what have you two been running since the quote-unquote nerf?
The first night we tried Last Stand, I tried like a support build, which was a 5-piece tack with What's
additional fuck?
What's the chest piece? The Barrett's chest piece, right? That's kind of like, it's a bit of a balanced build. I've got 5-5, I think, or 5-6-4. And that I almost got 4 tack links in one Last Stand game. And I was constantly healing all you guys, and I think that helped. I think a lot of you guys got high scores that game.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it was completely my fault. I'm just saying it helped.
I was literally 1 PvE kill away from breaking 20k for the first time on PC, which would have been nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I got about 19 kills or something like that. And I've been running Lone Star, which I don't think I've used since
forever
it came out. Yeah, I don't think I've used it at all, even on PlayStation. I think I got the farmed for the set, and that was pretty much it, because Strikers has been so prevalent for such a long time that there's not really been much point running anything else in PvP, which is kind of the good thing. They've kind of done what they did with Nomad. They've nerfed it. The only thing is now, what I'm finding with regards to Last Stand is Nomad is a pain in the ass because they've still got the constant heal. I don't want to say I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for it because people don't like stuff getting nerfed, but I wish the constant trickle heal for Nomad would just disappear in PvP game modes, not the Dark Zone, just in like skirmish or that stuff.
Yeah, because if you like add like sustained and predatory and like health on kill rolls on your gear to that, you're pretty tanky.
Yeah. So when you, just at the last minute, when you think with your Lone Star build, you're going to take a Nomad player down, it's like, no, dead. But I'm happy with the Striker nerf because it's built. The thing is, it's kind of weird because it's brought like other builds in, which obviously people aren't happy with at the minute. People complain about Predators, but I think it doesn't matter what you do. The sets are so overpowered at this point in time. We're just swapping the sets over, aren't we, with regards to the meta?
I think once the dust has settled a little bit, I think a lot of people will go back to Strikers. Well, mainly on PC anyway, because obviously that accuracy is going to help with the stack. Probably not so much on console. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I think you might have a point because 4-piece Striker was always pretty powerful, wasn't it? Because you were just getting extra damage for being accurate. Now that you've added the 6-piece bonus and you get some return of healing, it's never going to be a bad set, is it? No matter how much they nerf it, because if you're still getting some sustain from it, it's going to be more powerful, for example, than like Lone Star. I'm not saying Lone Star's a bad set because me and Mike have both run it since the update. I've ran that and a bit of Predators. The one thing I would say is I'll agree with I'll agree with what a lot of people on Twitter have been saying, and it does feel like quite a cheesy meta at the moment because Lone Star, yes, you need a bit of skill to run that because you've got to be careful because you are squishy in that build. D3's a bit cheesy. Nomad is definitely cheesy, and like Rob said, if you're running Predator, you're instantly labelled a dirty bastard. So
yeah, but the thing is, even with Predator, like I don't know how the actual set's built with regards to like if it feels like they've put a stamina cap on it, because you could be running, because you've got to hit like a certain amount of stamina, haven't you, to get the bleed?
The super bleed is 9k stamina.
Yeah, but you still feel squishy as hell.
Yeah, because you're not getting any return. But I'll tell you why you feel squishy as hell is you've got no firearms left. If you would trade in with that crazy bleed and you'd got some firearms, you would wreck faces super quick.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be a case that everyone's running, like everyone's still face tanking everybody. Do you know what I mean? And you need to kind of not do that anymore. We don't have that meta. So you've got builds like Predators and Nomad. You know, you can't really. There's no point face tanking Nomad because they're just tanky. Predators, they can shoot you out the way off to the side and that.
The thing is, Predators, I don't think is going to be as like good in Last Stand because you've got that normalization stopping you from having 9k and also proccing certain gun talents like Deadly, and Vicious. Like you can't proc those as well as having the 9k because there's not enough stats to do it. Unless I'm wrong, I might be wrong.
No, you're right. Or you're certainly right as far as I'm aware. My Pred is not completely optimized yet, but it's not far away. And to get over 9k in Last Stand, I think I'm like 9,800 and some change stamina outside of Last Stand. So the firearms you've got left are basically a couple of mods over base, which is what, 3.2, 3.4-ish? Yeah. You're not getting anything. You're getting nothing. That's what I say. If you face tank with Pred, you're face tanking long enough so that the other person could do some damage back whilst they're getting rid of the bleed that you've put on them. And that's where it feels squishy, because you're not, whilst you've got a lot of stamina, you're not doing enough damage to get away quick enough so they can put whatever damage they've got on their set straight into you, and you're getting nothing back for it. So
you're almost playing tag, aren't you? You hit them with those 10 bullets and run away.
Yeah.
Rob, quick question. How long does test server on Rainbow Six run for?
Usually about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. They only add, 2 operators at a time?
Yeah. And usually a map.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, half the problem that we have is we had, like, such an influx of classified gear. We had a PTS for it, but none of it was actually, it just wasn't enough time to balance all those gear sets, was it?
Two of the big four were pretty obvious, and a lot of feedback was given, and a lot of it was, I'm going to use the word ignored. It obviously wasn't ignored, but they didn't do anything about it before they came out. Everybody knew how powerful Predators were going to be.
My favorite gear set at the time was Firecrest.
Yeah, but the amount of people on the PTS that were using Nomad and Pred and said these are the choices to make. I think the only one that got slept on a little bit was Striker, but if I'm not mistaken, didn't they buff Striker from the PTS? And then they left Nomad and Predators alone, and then Nomad had to get nerfed so that it wasn't proc after proc after proc after proc. And obviously Predators has been slightly nerfed, I think, because they've put some hard counters in. They made the box work better, didn't they, against Predator? So
yeah, you could.
Yeah, it's just been like a weird 6 months. Well, it's longer than 6 months now. Christ. It's just, I feel like it's really weird to be like this far along in the life of all the classifieds being out, and we're still having to balance them, and none of them are really in a relatively good place. Not in a relatively good place, but I mean, we're only seeing like 3 or 4 builds. If you go play a different game, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the background behind it, but you could play like Rainbow Six, like you have your meta, but you're able to use all the operators, and I don't feel like that's the case with the classified sets that we have if you put them all on the same level.
Yeah, there's still a meta in Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I know that. I don't know.
I think they're obviously learning lessons from all of this, aren't they? But I think we're too far down the line to expect that they'll be completely balanced at any point. I think they're looking for some kind of happy medium, and then they'll just leave things alone. Because I'm not even sure we'll get any more patches after this one, to be honest. I don't feel like they would. The amount of time that's left with Division 1, assuming everybody stops playing it as soon as Division 2 comes out, which is obviously what I will do. What we got, let's call it September already, 6 months till the new one comes out. If they do another patch in a couple of months, that gives you 4 months to play with that patch. I don't feel like there's going to be enough reward for the effort they put into putting another patch out. I mean, yes, if a game-breaking bug arises, they'll have to fix it, but a balancing pass? I can't see it. Not myself.
I was going to say, we would have seen it by now, wouldn't we? We're like almost 9 months into the year. And we're still trying to get changes made to gear sets that we've had problems with for a long time. Yeah. We even did an episode, back in February? January, February time? Over on, like, what we should do with a couple of the sets just to help bring them in line. But I think you're right. I don't think we'll see another pass. But the other side is, there was news either this week or last week saying that they're going to continue supporting the Division 1 even though the Division 2's out. So it's not necessarily the end of the Division 1 once the Division 2's out. So I guess the question with that is, are we going to get any balance passes or updates, once the sequel's out? Is there any point? There's no money in it by then, I guess.
I can't think of a scenario that would mean they would do that, other than, as I say, if a game-breaking bug arises at any point.
Rob, I don't suppose you know if there's any continued updates for Destiny 1?
No, I don't think they do. I think the servers are still live, but I don't think they, yeah.
Oh well. Rip.
So what you're saying
Division 1
is dead game come
6
March.
months. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm going to be playing the new one, so it's fine. I just have to buy it.
I think the support is going to be they're going to continue the GEs, so the people that don't buy the second game can keep playing and keep grinding and all that jazz. And people might play the second one and then get the nostalgic urge to go play an incursion on the old one. I mean, that's happened on Destiny. Like my raid team, we went back and did some raids.
Are you
Destiny 2 came out?
Are you still allowed to call them your raid team?
My old raid team.
That privilege has been revoked.
No longer in said raid team.
How long is it since you played Destiny 2 now, Rob?
I don't know. I'm really tempted to buy it on PC, though.
Don't do it. I remember a month ago you were like, nope, not doing it.
It's quite cheap at the moment. And I'm just like, I kind of want to play Forsaken.
When you say quite cheap, do you mean free as a PlayStation 4?
No, it is free on PlayStation 4, though. Anyone's interested.
Not plug
apparently
Destiny 2 on this podcast.
Apparently the new update's pretty good, from what I've heard. It's bringing a lot of people back to the game.
Well, of course it would. If you haven't got anything in the game in the first place, anything good. Anything added could be good. No, I'm messing. But yeah, if you're interested, it is free on PlayStation Plus in this September, as of now. Other things that were fixed in 1.8.3, Showstopper was fixed. You could fire extra rounds if you timed your shots right. However, apparently the controller, if you're using console, will still rumble for the extra shots, and you'll still get the sound effect Yeah, at least that's been sorted. And apparently the issue that caused players to appear to be running in place has now been fixed.
Yay! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Has anyone tested it?
Not personally. I haven't had time.
I didn't know how to do it in the first place, to be honest.
Okay.
It was some medbox and was it EMP or something?
Don't know.
Something like
Can't
that.
remember.
Something like that.
I'm too tired for the ship.
You're tired. Why are you tired?
Because we were up playing Last Stand late.
Don't give me that shit. It wasn't late. You both logged off at 11 o'clock. What happened to the SITREP saying of you can go to bed tomorrow?
I had to get up at like 5 o'clock this morning.
I was talking Germany time.
All I hear are excuses.
I had to get up really early, so I had to get to work early, so I could leave work early to go to a bank appointment. Because someone wrote me a check.
Wasn't you?
Was it massive? Did that check finally arrive?
No. Someone wrote me a check for the wedding. It was addressed to me and my wife. My wife! And turns out you have to have a joint account to cash those said checks or deposit them. So we had to go and do that.
Rip.
I forgot to say, Locked On Boys wish your missus a huge commiserations.
No, I will tell her. Thank you.
I bet it's not the first person. Blah, 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 blah. I bet they're not the first people to say that to her, are they?
No.
Can you please repeat the
More
question?
than one person told me I was punching above my weight at the wedding. Like, thanks, I guess.
Yeah, I think even Brad's dad said the same thing. He was like, "How did he get Cheryl?"
It's obviously my lovely personality.
Yeah, that must be it.
I mean, I like you and all, but
You're a bit of a cunt.
Careful you don't step into bullshit.
oh, right, down to the meat and bones.
The meat?
Yeah, meat on a stick. Down to the
Oh,
meat.
meat on a stick. Oh, I missed my meat on the stick. Let's go back to Germany, boys.
I mean, I'm
Sell
game.
that shit everywhere.
I'm not bothered about meat on a stick, but that fucking beer was lush.
Rob just wants to go back to the gym.
More in jokes.
Oh, this is not going to be good. I think last week's episode was bad enough for in jokes. Right. So, pre-orders for the Division 2 are currently live. They went live last week whilst we were at Gamescom, and all the editions have now been unveiled, as well as what will potentially come with each purchase. This has had, what would you say, boys, a little bit of backlash over the past week.
Just a tad.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I don't know. I think it was just a bit of confusion, not backlash. Just like
Disagree.
I don't understand why they've got two different Dark Zone collector's editions for different regions, but you know,
Yeah, that'd be nice if they were the same.
that's the only thing that was controversial, apart from the prices, I guess.
Okay, can I just stop you right there then? Do you think the prices are that bad?
No,
Right, okay, cool.
I mean,
Which edition are you thinking of buying? Are you buying the Standard, Gold, Ultimate, Dark Zone, or Phoenix? I mean, that's...
I'm looking at the content matrix right now. Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm seeing lots of X's because that's what's on the content matrix. This is really good for a visual audio medium, but I don't want a game soundtrack. No offense, Massive. Don't want that. Washington, D.C. map. I've got Google. I don't need that. Book of lithographs. Don't know what lithograph is, so no. And then you've got the statues. Don't give a fuck. So I'm literally gonna just get the one that has the most of stuff that doesn't include those last 5 things, which is the Ultimate Edition. That's how I made my decision.
So you made your decision by doing some reading then, yes?
Well,
maybe.
Mainly the content matrix helped me make my decision.
Yeah, but you had to read said content matrix, right? You didn't just blindly go into the pre-order store and go, oh, click that one. You actually read about what you want and what you can get for your money and did some rough maths of value for money, etc., etc.
I made an educated decision, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Without assuming that each edition contains everything. So by buying the standard edition, you don't get the statue. I mean, otherwise you'd be
I don't want a
for
statue.
free.
Yeah, you do.
I'll buy you a statue.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
Don't make promises you won't keep.
What was alluding to there is that a lot of people that are kicking up a lot of fuss about different things to do with the pre-orders don't seem to fully understand what it is that Ubisoft are doing, why they're doing it, and the fact that it's standard industry practice for a lot of stuff that they're doing.
But I'd just be interested to know why Ubisoft chose to leave the Year One Pass, the First Responder Pack, and the Elite Agent Pack out of the European Dark Zone Collector's Edition.
Yeah, that's to do with the pre-orders. That is literally the only thing I would like answering, because I want the Dark Zone Edition because I want that sweet, sweet DZ statue, but I want the Year One Pass, and I can't have both unless I order the game twice. Which,
what about the First Responder Pack and the Elite Agent Pack?
Don't care.
You don't care. But
No, I don't care about that stuff because
that's
that reminds me. No, it reminds me of Division 1.
In-game vanity content, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when everybody got hyped about the first responder sets that you had in the Division 1, and now we couldn't even use them, like the backpack and that.
Oh, the police backpack that let you do all the ammo.
Yeah.
That they then fixed.
Yeah. And then now nobody uses.
Yeah. What about the Battle Worn Secret Service Pack? Because that's not in the Gold Edition. What's that? It sounds cool. I want that.
I do.
I just want everything that says pack.
I think anything with pack on the end of it is a vanity set, isn't it? So I'm not that interested. I understand that some people really love their vanity items, but for me, I don't really care.
You just want an action figure.
I just want an action figure that I can play with in the bath, yeah.
Because you're 10, right?
Yeah, right. Why else would I want a doll? I want the DZ statue because I really regret not buying I think it was the Agent Edition for Division 1 that got you the statue of that. And I've forever been trying to keep an eye out for the statue from Division 1 being in stock somewhere. And we saw it at GamesCom, and I waited a day to buy it, and then it was out of stock.
Yeah, you waited till the last day.
Yeah, because I didn't know if I'd have enough spending money for all the beer we were drinking and other stuff that I wanted to do. And then I didn't want to break it walking around Gamescom all day with it, so I waited. And then I got to the stand, and there was a big X through it to say it was out of stock, and I cried a little bit inside.
Yeah, because it was really cheap as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've had a look on Amazon since I got home. It's like 76 quid on Amazon. And it's, I believe, just under 60 in the Ubi store. I'm going to get it eventually. But I mean, that's why I want the DZ edition. I want the statue and I want the game. Now, obviously, the problem I've got is I need to have it on 2 platforms. Ideally, I'd like the Year One Pass on both, but I'm going to have to choose a platform that doesn't have the Year One Pass. And that's it. That's the only decision I've got to make. And as I say, the only thing I would like them to explain, and I don't know if they'll ever will explain it, is why the DZ edition is different in Europe to everywhere else.
Right. I might be able to answer that question. Okay. So.
This is official Ubisoft answer, right?
No, it's not an official, but this is taking a stab. This is pissing in the wind.
Just speculating.
Okay. Speculating. Okay, so.
Welcome to Speculation Radio.
Shut the fuck up. 20% is the difference between Europe and other countries around the world, especially the US. That's the difference of disposable income. Okay, so that's basically saying that we as Europeans, current Europeans, till March, funny enough, have less disposable income. So I'm guessing the idea being that they probably wanted to sell us that, but probably thought we couldn't afford it. So
sorry, let me just recap. So you're saying that all Europeans are poor?
No, I'm not saying Europeans are poor. I'm saying that Europeans have less disposable income than
Poor?
the US. This
Poorer
is
than
honestly,
America.
look, coming from an actual study. You can Google it. It was from Data Watch, and that was back in 2016. That was
We
2
should all
years
move to
ago.
America. We minted then.
Well, yeah, probably, maybe not. I don't know.
I mean,
That
to be
could
honest,
be
if
one
I
of the
could afford it,
reasons.
I would probably buy the Phoenix Shield Collector's Edition.
It's like the
But
£200 one.
yeah,
Hmm.
but I just got married, and I want an RTX 2080 Ti. So
Oh, nothing to do with it then.
it's not going to happen.
That's one theory on it. I don't know why they've decided to do that. I don't know why they've decided to take. I think that's half everybody's problem, isn't it? The fact that they've took out the season pass or the year one pass, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
That's one of the problems. Yeah, there's
That is one of the problems. I know there's. We'll get to the other bits in a second, but what I want to know now is, can I buy that separately at launch?
what
Because that's everybody's
just
question.
the pass.
Yeah, because if I buy the Dark Zone edition, that means I'm now missing out on content. I'm willing to buy that
No,
content.
you're not
You're
missing out on
not missing out on
content.
content.
Not missing out on it. You don't have access to it
You
straight away.
You have to wait 7 days.
Yeah, that's to certain things. But if you read what the season pass actually gives you, it gives you what? 7-day early access to all year one episodes.
Yeah.
It gives you exclusive customization items, cool, and additional activities and more to be announced.
Activities.
Right? So to me, reading that, the 7-day early access only applies to the episodes. It doesn't say anything else with regards like that year pass will give you the additional content. So what they're basically saying is that the episodes are free, but you have to pay for the other stuff via the year one pass. So you need the year one pass, much like you did when you had the gold edition.
It's not just the episodes that are free, though, is it? Because all the raids and everything are going to be free as well.
The raids, raid is free.
And the raid is 100% not going to be affected by the year one pass. They have already announced that for anybody who's
Let's just
not read
rewind
that.
back to E3 and seeing Julian Garrity on the stage and him saying all content for year one is free.
He said all episodes.
No, he said all in-game content. He said all the first year's DLC is free.
I can't remember its exact words, so I'm going to stay clear of this. I don't want
Definitely
to.
said
I don't want to
DLC.
misquote somebody. That's all.
I don't think he said DLC. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
he did.
sure he said episodes.
No, he said DLC.
But you can't say all content because you tell me we're not going to get microtransactions, which will be vanity sets. So we're going to have loot boxes in the game. We already know that. We weren't even supposed to get them in the first one. So basically, to put us back on track, like, I'm going to be honest, I'm really looking forward to the Division 2. I'm going to be buying it. I'm going to pre-order it. I want the Dark Zone edition. I'd like to be able to buy the pass. I think we all bought the gold edition, 2 years ago? Over 2 years ago now?
Yes. Which was how much, by the way? Can you remember? 60 quid? 70 quid?
No, I don't even think it was that much. I think it was like 50 quid. It wasn't that much.
The base game would have been anywhere between 40 and 50, wouldn't it? And the gold edition got you the season pass, so...
I don't think it was that much.
I want to say $59.99.
Yeah, I think it was like an extra 20,
Yeah,
25
extra 20
quid.
quid,
It
yeah.
wasn't like 80 quid or anything like that. Because that's what you would pay for like if you went and
Might have
bought a
been.
Battlefield. I don't think it was. Because I think it was cheaper because the season pass was more separate.
I'm just thinking, I remember definitely paying $44.99 for Battlefield 1. That was a AAA title, new release, didn't include the DLC pass.
Well, you got mugged.
Yeah, definitely. So Division 1, I would think, would be the similar price, and then 20-25 quid for the season pass, because that's roughly what it is when it's not on sale on like Steam and Uplay and stuff. So that runs in line with how much the gold edition is this time, with a little bit of an increase on it, because it's a 3-year-old game. Inflation is a thing. So I don't think the prices are too out of whack. I personally think the Phoenix edition is a little bit expensive, but that's coming from a guy that's never paid 200 quid for a video game before. So,
well, how much was the Sleeper Agent edition?
No idea.
I think that was quite expensive. I think it was like 150 quid, if not more. And it is, I mean, you've seen the statue yourself.
Yep.
I mean, it's not really something I personally want, because it's, as Rob kindly put it last week's episode, it's basically an action man.
I'll tell you what, though, you do get a lot of
G.I. Joe.
customization items with that statue, don't you?
He's a Ken doll.
Yeah. But, so you're going to pre-order the DZ edition then, Mike? That's official, yes?
Yeah, I'm going to pre-order the DZ edition. That's what I want.
Buy the year one pass when they sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is... I need to get confirmation on that before I pre-order, otherwise I'll be missing out. That's my issue with the pre-orders at the minute, is it's not clear if we can actually buy that separate or not.
Yeah.
Because you must be able to, because if you can buy a standard edition of the game,
I think
you must be able to get the year one pass as well.
I think they'd be mad not to give you the year one pass. To sell the year one pass at launch as an extra. Because this is just the pre-order bundles, isn't it? You will be able to go into your local game store or your GameStop or whatever gaming shop you've got in your country and buy different versions of this game on March 15th or whatever date it is. So obviously you don't need to pre-order. Some of these versions will be available. Probably not all. But then obviously, the pre-order bonuses are like the 3-day early access and that, aren't they? So, yeah, I'm definitely getting a DZ edition. If we find out that you can get the year one pass after launch, that just means I can get like a standard edition on PlayStation and not pre-order it.
I think I'm not 100% with the player base being split with the early access 7 days. Now, I say that, and from my point of view, it's an RPG. Sorry?
We had 30 days in Division 1, just saying.
Well, that was what I was getting towards.
Sorry.
That's all right. And basically, it's not great that if you don't have the pass that you're not getting that stuff early. And I guess that's what you're paying for. But at least, as Rob so rightly said, we're not waiting 30 days and content isn't being exclusive to either Xbox, PC, or PlayStation this time around.
Yeah.
It's going to be available to everyone. Now, I'm not 100% happy with it, but...
Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice if everybody could play everything at the same time. In this day and age with social media and stuff, spoilers are pretty hard to stay away from. And even if the episodes don't bring you an awful lot of stuff that you could spoil, somebody will spoil the end of the raid for you because there are going to be people that finish the raid before a lot of other people. So you need to stay away from that. But like the episodes and that, it depends what content that is as to what can be spoiled from it. But the point still remains. I think it would be better if people could play the game at the same time. However, I did kind of expect something like this. They're giving us all, if not most, of the year one content for free. They've got to increase their profit margins one way or another.
I think the 7-day thing doesn't really matter because the people that like the hardcore players are going to be buying the year one pass, right?
Yeah.
The casual players probably won't, so they won't care.
Yeah,
they'll be playing at a slower rate as the people with the year one passes anyway.
Yeah, it's quite funny that the people complaining about this are the people that are going to pre-order it anyway and won't have any issues.
I really don't see an issue with it at all.
No,
I think what they've done is probably spot on. But it's just my opinion.
Okay, so how do you feel about 3-day early access on launch of the game next March for people that have pre-ordered?
Again, that's pretty standard industry practice, is it not?
On certain games, yes.
I might be trying to be very careful so that I don't open a can of worms, but I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, can of worms.
Pretty sure Call of Duty
do the same thing. Yeah, that's the game I was going to use.
Now, for me, that would be more important if you get 3 days early access on that game, because, well, especially this year, because there's no campaign for it. So you're going to jump straight to multiplayer, and you know what people are like in those sort of games. They're just going to level up.
Yeah.
Before you even get on.
Now, the thing to be very careful of here with the 3-day early access for The Division is that when you go onto the Ubi store and actually read the posters for the different versions that give you the 3-day early access, there's a little asterisk at the end of the word access. If you then read the small print at the bottom of the posters...
Ooh, small print. I love small print.
Everybody loves small print, but nobody ever reads it.
Does it take you to a website by any chance?
It can take you to a website, yes. If you go to that website, you can find more information. But the little asterisk stipulates that conditions and restrictions apply to the 3-day early access. I think restrictions is the key word there. Because in last week's State of the Game, Yannick was very clear in saying that when it comes to anything that is quote-unquote competitive, i.e. loot and PvP, these are things that they're going to look at very carefully in terms of what is and is not available during the early access. Now, that to me smacks of they're going to content gate stuff during the 3-day early access. So speculation would be that you can only get to level 10, or you can only get to level 15, or you can only do certain missions during the 3-day early access. Which means...
No, it just means...
Come general release, most people are in the same place at the same time.
No, I don't...
It also means...
I
was going to say, it also means that there's a high chance that the Dark Zone won't be accessible for 3 days, in theory.
It looks sad.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Rob. I will probably play this game, assuming it's done in a similar vein, I will play this game the same as I did the first one and not go anywhere near the Dark Zone until my character is level 30 or 40 or whatever end game is.
Exactly the same. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Didn't do it. First time I went in the Dark Zone, I was level 30. I made my third character before I went in the Dark Zone pre-level 30, just to see what it was like.
Yeah.
That's how I plan on doing it this time. It makes no difference to me if the DZ is locked off or not.
I don't know. It seems like a really shitty thing to throw in now, 3 days early access, when you should just have everybody start on the same day. But, people get the copies of their games early anyway. I've had, Battlefield or Medal of Honor back in the day, like a week earlier, and I've been...
You got Battlefield 1 the day before it was released, didn't you? I remember you posting the screenshot.
Yeah, it's like 2 days before release, and I didn't even... that's the thing, though. I didn't pay for it. Now, is that going to be the case of...
You didn't pay for it? How did it turn up at your door then, a day early?
I didn't pay for the 3 days... I didn't pay for it getting to me earlier. Do you know what I mean?
I would argue you're not paying for
3
day early access either. You're pre-ordering.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily paying anything extra for these extra 3 days, are you? So
No.
Well, technically you did pre-order if you bought the game before it came out.
Yes, I did pre-order, bro.
Right.
I think the only thing that differs, as far as I'm aware, with like pre-ordering direct from Ubi and pre-ordering from like Amazon or Game, is the latter two don't take your money until they confirm your order, whereas pre-ordering on Ubi takes the money straight away, so they're earning interest on all the money from all the pre-orders for 6 months. Which is kind of a clever business model, to be fair to them.
Yeah, that's
other than that, you're not
isn't it?
specifically paying for the early access, are you? Because it's like a free little bonus to get you to pre-order, I guess.
It's a scam. It's all a scam. Don't pre-order.
Oh, that's the thing, though, isn't it? If you're not happy with pre-orders, don't give them your money till you want to buy the game. Wait till you know all the information. I think that's the same with every pre-order, not just the Division. Or the Division 2, as the case may be.
It's a conversation that's rumbled on in our Discord for a little while, where we're away, isn't it? I mean, obviously, we had this conversation with Brad, and we had this conversation with Boris. I think everybody we speak to is on board that maybe things could have been done a little bit better, but pretty much everybody we speak to is going to pre-order the game because they want it, and they're hyped as fuck for it.
I think that's the problem, though. I think the fact that people knowing that people are going to pre-order it anyway, it's like it becomes like a non-issue. But if you're not worried about, if you're thinking about whether to or not, and you're undecided about dropping all that money on a game, and you're still not 100% on everything that's going to be on the pre-order, then it really does, it means more than it would to us. Do you know what I mean? Because like, we've all said we're going to buy it. We've said it for months. It doesn't matter when we're going to buy the Division 2.
I'll pre-order mine live while we record if you want.
No, I'm good, dude.
I've already pre-ordered mine. So,
I mean, we've said before, like we would subscribe to this game if we could, if it meant that we would get constant updates, constant expansions for the game, and I personally think the Division could do really well based on that model, as long as we get balancing and all the rest of it. And I understand it costs money to pay for the items we have in the game, but it's, I don't know, because like now there's a freaking stash issue, isn't there? People are worried about if you pre-order or you buy this edition, you're not going to get the same amount of stash. And I think that is a little bit shitty, but I mean, and that's coming from us because I'm pretty sure once upon a time we said we'd pay for additional stash space.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, I didn't think at the time that would literally be taken.
The stash base is not on the content matrix. Which ones get the extra stash base?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
it's a very good question, actually. I can't remember either. But yeah, I'm guilty of saying that I would pay for extra stash space, and I still might, but probably not because I want the Dark Zone edition. So
it really depends, but like I can't be 100% happy with that, unfortunately, until we know what the stash space is and how much we need, and by then it's already too late. And they've already said that you won't be able to buy. Hopefully, you won't be able to buy any more stash space once the game's launched, because then you're basically buying stash space as a microtransaction.
yeah,
Just say stash space one more time for me.
I fucking hate you. I bit my tongue. It fucking hurts.
Mustache space.
Stash.
Mustache.
Space.
Mustache space. Is that really? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's as big an issue as everybody has made out it to be, and I think
one slot.
Well, I just mean
Don't
any
outrage
of the pre-order outrage.
I think the fact it's undecided and there's no information out there of what is currently going to be, and I know they've come out and said
10 slots.
there will be more than enough space for you to carry what you need. But what if you want like 12 sets? Or I don't know, it just seems like it's really, I don't know. It doesn't seem like something we should be buying. We shouldn't be buying stash space. I don't know any other. I mean, if it was a free-to-play game and we were paying for expansions, I could understand it from that point of view, because you've got microtransactions in the game, you're doing it that way. But the fact that you're buying the game and then you're having to buy stash space on top, I mean, if you need the money to pay for additional servers for our stash space, then I understand it from that point of view, but it just seems a little bit weird.
Stash space.
Can't face.
Stash
I
space.
don't know. Any more thoughts on that, guys? Because
Stash space.
no, I haven't really got any thoughts on the stash space because I don't know how annoyed I will be when they announce what the stash space increase will be. Like, I genuinely can't see it being a problem. I'm trying to think of a scenario that would get me riled up about it, and I can't. So I don't think I'm that worried about it. I'm really not. I listened to SkillUp's video while we were away about it, and I'm definitely not as pissed off about it as he is. And I do hoard a lot, so I feel like I should be annoyed, but I'm just not. Do you know what I mean? We got through the early days of the Division with a ridiculously small backpack and a ridiculously small stash, and we made it work, and we didn't even have loadouts back then. Now we've got loadouts and a massive stash box and whatever. It's still full because we just save more crap that we're never going to use. So you just maybe have to play with a bit more conscious effort to only use the good stuff. Do you know what I mean? We made it work before, we'll make it work again. That's effectively what I'm trying to say.
We've also got to remember that the mods aren't going to be hot, like in your stash.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Jesus, back in vanilla, weapon skins took up inventory space.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and like that's mainly one of the things I hoard is just mods, because you never know when the meta's going to change and everyone wants to run like certain mods, or like you want to switch your build out because they switch stamina points to 15 to 30 or whatever, and everyone wants to run stam mods now instead of firearm mods or electronic mods. Like we all hoarded because there was an ever evolving meta, and we didn't want to miss out when that meta changed, so we just kept stuff just in case. But with all the mods being available whenever you want them, it's not going to be an issue, I don't think. So you just need to keep the bits you want to keep.
And then we get back to the good old game of inventory management. 2.0. No, the thing is, I can understand both sides of it, and like I said, it doesn't matter to us because we're buying the game. But I can understand people that are on the fence of, like, especially people that maybe were burnt with the first game on launch. You know, and having a look at the Division 2, or new people looking into it could be like, I'm not 100%. I want to buy it just yet. But it's a pre-order. It's a pre-order for people that want to buy it. And
yeah, I don't think anybody who was burnt out on the first one's going to pre-order the second one. Or they're going to maybe pick up a standard edition and try it out, or maybe even wait for like an open beta or something just to see if they like the game again or not.
I just think it's a bit of a dodgy grounds. Not putting all the details in there, because like I remember supply drops. Weren't supply drops unannounced? Because it was just additional content included with the season
supply
pass.
drops were a free to everybody update extra to bring more encounters in the Dark Zone, weren't they?
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is we didn't know at the time what that would be. If you see what I mean, you bought your season pass.
Oh, you mean those supply drops?
For a long period of time. Yeah, sorry, your season pass supply drops. I'm pretty sure it didn't arrive for a long time. And then when we did get them, they weren't exactly great. And then they obviously buffed them, and it was worth it at that point. But for a long time,
I don't know whether you remember, originally the season pass for the first game, like, promised events and things that never happened. Like there was, yeah.
But this is the problem. I think this is the
we should all sue Massive because they didn't fulfill their promises.
But I think this is probably the reason why people are a bit more tentative this time, and why people have kicked off about it. I think if everything had gone smoothly last time, it wouldn't be so much of an issue. And like, I don't want the Division 2 turning into like this weird pre-order nightmare, and then obviously we're going to have microtransactions on top, because like E3, they did such a good job, didn't they? They came out, Division 2, it's here, episodes or DLC is now going to be free to everyone for the first year, and then obviously now we're finding about Season Pass and Stash and like the whole beta argument that's going on in our community at the minute. I don't care about that. I'm going to be honest. People pre-order games all the time for access to games. you can pre-order Battlefield at one point for access to a closed beta. To me, that's the same. It's not great. You've still got a chance to get in. You sign up for the beta. That's not a problem. I just think for all the hard work that they've put in over the last 2 years, supporting the game and making it pretty damn good now, I would hate for all that effort to be ripped apart with
controversy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to say this, Mike, but
you're a cunt.
When the Division 2 comes out,
you're going to be playing it.
There's going to be a lot of controversy.
Oh my god, they changed firearms, man.
There's going to be shit that's broken that they'll need to fix. Guaranteed.
I know that. Yeah.
But it's the fact that they will fix it.
Yes.
That's why we're still sat here talking about shit like this.
Agreed.
Should we move on to questions?
Very briefly, before we do move on to questions, what have we been up to this week, boys?
Trying to catch up on sleep, to be honest.
Yeah. Working? Well, I say working. Pretending to work while watching YouTube videos.
Yeah. A lot of sleep this week. Obviously, we're all sassed out after GamesCom. 4 people in one place is not great. I think we had a point last week where Rob was even like, can someone please just give me a straight fucking answer, because I'm sick of people giving me non-answers for about 4 days.
I think that was when we were leaving Gamescom on the Friday. I was just trying to have a conversation with someone. Might have been you, Mike. I was just like, can you just give me an answer without it being a piss take?
No.
And
never.
That came back with a piss take.
And then getting ripped by everyone else. I think what we did learn is you don't give Rob tropical Red Bull.
No, just Red Bull in general.
You were pretty good on that stuff for about 3 hours.
Yeah, I was overtired and had tons of energy.
Yeah. Luke, obviously we've been playing Last Stand this week. I think we didn't get a chance to talk about it before we went away as well, because obviously the Petter episode 120 went up. But we've been playing a lot of that.
Correct.
Just what we've played, really, isn't it? A little bit DZ.
Yeah. And I just want to say, Spick, I love you. We had an awesome time with you last week. Unfortunately, you're a terrible translator.
He's no longer Spick. He's now Bori the Blade.
Bori the Blade. Well, it was all good when he translated pepperoni.
Oh, yes! Yes. You just reminded me, Mike, of this amazing story that I have to tell. Right.
Go on then.
If you've listened to last week's episode, I may have mentioned 2 words, hot snakes, quite a lot. The first night we were in Germany, and we went to a burger joint. They didn't have the burger I wanted. I ended up having a Mexican burger, and it had a shit ton of jalapenos. How many? What? How many what?
Jalapenos.
I didn't count them. It was just a really spicy burger, okay?
It was a fuck ton.
Yeah, it was a fuck ton. And it had jalapeno sauce on it as well.
I don't think that was sauce. I think that was just chopped jalapenos on top of the fucking jalapenos.
Jalapenos chopped into mayonnaise or some shit. So for the next day, we were in Gamescom, and I almost had to use my press pass to jump a queue to get to the toilet because of said hot snakes. And I was walking like John Wayne for the most of the day as well. And then proceeded to have really bad gas for the rest of the week, which Brad really enjoyed. But I got a lot of shit from all the guys because of this.
You had a shit.
Because I was very open about my hot snakes.
You didn't have much choice, to be fair.
Yeah. But the last night we went to a pizza place.
Mario's Pizza
in Cologne. Go check them out. It's really good pizza. And there was this, I was like, we looked at the menu and there was like, everyone's like, I want a pepperoni pizza. But obviously, from my past experience, what, Mike? What? Why are you waving at me?
I was going to say, the best bit is we sat down to eat and like, we don't speak German at all, do we?
No.
So we trust Boris.
Who's lived there
the
for
trip.
like, what, a year and a half?
All right, okay. That wasn't the best bit. It was when the waiter came out and was like, I think Luke was like, English? And the dude was like, he was pretty much like, Scheiße, and fucking ran in again to get somebody
like,
else.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
So we actually got served by Mario, who looked more like Luigi, if I'm honest.
That is terrible.
But there was we were trying to order, like, I wanted a pepperoni pizza. Everyone wanted pepperoni on their pizzas because that's what we have in England. But that wasn't on the menu. There was salami, or you could make your own pizza and order pepperoni.
Yeah.
So everyone, I was like, I'm just gonna have a salami pizza. I'm not gonna ask them to make a special pizza for me. I think you did the same, Luke.
Yeah.
You had the same as me.
Yeah.
And literally everyone else, Brad, Boris, Mike, even Boris' son, ordered a special pizza with pepperoni on it. Lost in translation.
Something else on that.
Pepperoni was actually chopped up jalapenos. So, to my delight, when all these pizzas came out and everyone just had cheese pizzas with jalapenos on, even Boris's 10-year-old son, I was in stitches. Oh, it was like karma. Brad only ate like two of slices of his pizza. He was like, "Oh, I'm full," when really he just didn't want to dodge your guts the next day.
I ate quite a lot. I had a fucking large, 13-inch pizza with, what was it, doner meat and freaking jalapenos. That was really good.
Pepperoni.
Yeah. In other words, don't ever trust Boris to translate fucking German.
Pepperoni in German means jalapenos.
And yeah, the look on his face when those pizzas came out. Was like, shit.
I remember now. I remember what pepperoni means in German. Shit.
I had to sit next to him and I was like, man, that's a lot of jalapenos with nothing else on it.
I tell you what though, Rob, them salami pizzas were delicious, weren't they?
They were good. They were really good.
Anyway, questions, Rob?
Yes. Oh yeah, we had one from Kevin Hopper on the shit, my phone's going nuts. On this Facebook messages, he says, "Greetings from Canada. Just a thought on the content cycle of nerfing. We see the gear sets. How hard would it be, and how much would it change the dynamic of they just that doesn't make sense. Eliminated the gear sets from the DZ, so basically Rogue 29. Then I guess I would like to see players entering the DZ be equipped similar to Survival, where they have to hunt gear, kill players, and kill mobs to get the gear to make yourself better. Gear set items can still be farmed but need to be extracted from the DZ, but still no gear sets in the area. I think this would level the playing field and add some good fun to the game."
I think that's a great idea. You would have to reset the server.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
quite often.
It would have to be an option like in the game, wouldn't it? Otherwise, it wouldn't work. You'd have to join the server like Survival-esque.
Yeah, I'd like to see a Survival DZ come into fruition, but I think the problem is you'd end up with people in there all day with really awesome stuff, So if it is a case
Right.
the minute you leave the dark zone, the minute you leave the dark zone or go to the checkpoint, you lose everything. That's cool, but you'd have to like put the servers on a timer, kick everybody out. Or something.
Yeah, you both said exactly what I was thinking. As soon as Rob was reading out the idea of you get gear by killing other players and mobs is in theory a brilliant one, but you know the better players would soon become prevalent, wouldn't they? So, but yeah, I mean, if the server was on a timer and everybody got moved around every so often, that wouldn't be an issue, would it? So I do like the idea, the premise of the idea, anyway.
Say you stuck an hour on it, that would be great fun.
Or just have it as like a weekend event for the sequel or something. I'd really like. I'm pretty sure we've talked about something similar before. Something like with no skills and just going in with like golds or something like that, or purples.
I think at some point over the life of this podcast, Mike, you said you want everything to be like survival. So we've almost certainly discussed it in the DZ.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Kevin!
Roberts.
Yeah?
Hello.
Hi.
Where can the listeners find us, dude?
You can find us over at SITREPRadio on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as our personal accounts. Send us any questions or feedback you have to the email address, which is sitradiopod@gmail.com, or you can find us on the Discord, links in the show notes. We want to hear your thoughts on the news and topics we cover in the show, so please leave a comment and join the discussion in all those places. Luke?
Please leave a review of the show using the podcast app of your choice. We really do enjoy reading all of them. The feedback is excellent. And, you know, at the end of the day, it does actually help other people to find our show. If you're brave enough to listen to the very end of the show, you will hear all the juicy details about the other awesome shows that are available on the Mash Those Buttons network. Thank you.
We do live stream as often as we can, so if you're interested in dropping by and chatting with us whilst we play The Division and some other games, you can find us over at twitch.tv/SITREPRadio. We stream Monday through to Wednesday with the odd weekend as well. Thank you to the Division Elites on Facebook. In sad news, the Division HQ for Xbox is being shut down, but we thank them for all their support and wish them the best for the future. Thank you, agents, for listening. This has been SITREP Radio, and we will catch you next week. Oh, before we leave as well, make sure to check out the best Aussie podcast out there, The Little Dum Dum Club. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for choosing a Mash Those Buttons podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to subscribe to one of our shows, you can find us on multiple podcast platforms across iOS and Android. Just search for the show on a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts and hit subscribe. If you can't find us on your favorite podcast platform of choice, just go right to the mashthosebuttons.com website, grab the RSS feed, and put it into your podcatcher of choice. If you want to check out some other podcasts you may enjoy, you should check out mashthosebuttons.com/shows. For World of Warcraft fans, we have two podcasts, WoW Talk, which is our news and community podcast, and The Torn and the Goblin, which is our lore and story podcast. If you enjoy Overwatch, make sure to check out Watchpoint Radio to keep up with the latest on Overwatch and its community. If you enjoy fighting games, make sure you check out Double Tap for the latest in the FGC. If you're a fan of The Division or looking forward to The Division 2, make sure you check out SITREP Radio. If you want to keep up with the latest at Mash Those Buttons, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/mtbsite, facebook.com/mashthosebuttons, and youtube.com/mashthosebuttons. We'd also like to have you join our Discord community, so just go to discord.me/mashthosebuttons and join us for a chat. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secured.